What's going on, guys? This is the third vlog for our visual culture class, and we're talking about privilege and cultural jamming, specifically using cultural jamming as a tool for handling or spotlighting privilege. This is interesting, very, very interesting. Cultural jamming as a tool is powerful. Our book talks about the use of irony um, and how effective it can be for to sort of break the gaze of the audience. We know that Banksy, the artist, is notorious for using ironic cultural jamming to bring light to a lot of issues, and I think that's really the key to it there. But I'll get to that. David Dart's article from the University of Arizona, I believe, um, highlights the power that it gives the students, our education students, to and then the students they teach, to remove them from that passive spectatorship and give them the ability to sort of feel the effect of the cultural irony, I guess, that's behind the jamming, and that's really powerful to bring light to a lot of issues. I especially think it's powerful to bring light to issues where there is someone to blame and someone who needs to no, not someone who needs to take the blame as in like voluntarily, but someone who the larger population needs to realize is to blame and then demand that there's responsibility taken by that person, whether voluntarily or not. Banksy does that a lot with financial institutions, with oil industries, with capitalistic markets, things like that. However, when it comes to privilege, and this builds off of my last video, when it comes to privilege, any sort of privilege, whether it's white privilege, male privilege, um, first world country privileges, where you're born, privileges are for everything, a youth privilege. But when it comes to privilege, the ownership that needs to be taken is on a very personal level, and it needs to be taken. If building off my last video, where we're talking about adding value, in order to convince a culture to change, you need to tell them why it's valuable for them to change. Um, Shoving or showing that their privilege is a problem by jamming their culture or cultural icons to, I guess, that subculture, I think is aggressive. I don't think that is going to take someone with privilege, who at this point will assume they haven't acknowledged, take that privilege and voluntarily acknowledge it as a problem. They might feel uncomfortable by the jamming, to the point where it's ineffective. Our own book even talks about how the narrative of these cultural jams or jamming can be they're reflective or reflexive, where what could happen is you don't know how the person's going to take it. I think a really good example is the Kaepernick Nike sponsorship, where that that statement and that campaign was immediately turned into a meme, and it lost a lot of its power and a lot of its weight behind it, which is unfortunate. But it's that's what can happen. So I don't think jamming is a long-term beneficial tool. It's powerful. It's jarring. It'll make people who aren't a part of that privileged subculture, they'll appreciate it. They'll find it probably funny, or they'll think it's intelligent use of cultural jamming. But I don't think that the people who need to take responsibility of the privilege in order to actually change, because they'll need a want to change, I don't think jamming is a good tool to do that. I don't think that shows them the value in changing. But I could be wrong. So let me know what you think. And yeah.